to episode 30 of Amazing Authors. Tonight, this is our room where we get to create magic through inspiration. And I get to welcome the wonderful storyteller tonight, CV Shaw, the author of The Spell. So I'm wondering if all of you out there are sci-fi fans or fantasy fans or anything like that. You're going to love this interview tonight because what she has to offer is all of the above. Something magical is just awaiting. And I like to say, when I'm in the room with Ceci or CV or whatever, how you ever are known to the world, there's always something magical or wonderful about to happen. So sit back and enjoy the rest of the interview. It's good to bring you into this place, CV. Yeah. I sort of excited about having this conversation today. Your book actually has been out in the world doing its thing, celebrated, and I'm so excited to celebrate you. A little bit about you as an intro, and then we'll get ready to go with you telling your side of the story, which I love. This is what the whole thing is about. We are looking at how amazing authors show up in this world, and certainly CV is one of them. And it's so weird to call you CV, but Ceci
is fine. Yeah.
I'd like to be correct with regard to authors.
No, that's good.
Great. So CV Shaw is the author behind The Spell. She is native to South Florida and a great believer in magic and imagination. She is a doctor of Oriental medicine and quantum energy medicine, as well as MindScape, which is brain meditation instructor. She has published work in How to Survive Your Teenager and the Story Circle Journal. She's also received recognition for her award-winning short stories, Looped, Who's Underneath, and Ripped, which was adapted into a short film, Channel Zero. Previously, as a journalist, she was the feature writer for MD News, Florida Medical Business, Miami Herald, Neighbors, and Club Systems International. So it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for me, once again, to always bring her into the room because, like I always say, this is where the storyteller becomes the story. So welcome, CV. How are you tonight, Ceci?
I'm fabulous, but please call me Ceci.
I call you Ceci.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. We're done with that. Okay. Yeah. So how are you? How is this wonderful experience been so far? It's almost 2 years or 3. 2020 was when you published.
2020. It's been long. It's been a long time. It's been amazing, but it's also been frustrating because remember it was born right when the pandemic was happening, right at the beginning of COVID. So it was a bit frustrating not being able to do book tours or, the book signings in person. And it ended up being 2 years later, I got my book signing in person in the worst peak of COVID, the Omicron. And I know that there was a bunch of people there with, that had COVID. I mean, I could hear it behind their mask, they were super sick, but it had to happen. I mean, it was going to happen. I was just not going to take no for an answer. I begged. So
everybody, your beautiful book, The Spell, and the wonderful cover and the wonderful intrigue that you experience when you look at this cover with the obvious crown, the spell, and the arrow underneath it. Let me give everybody a wonderful background as to what this book is all about, and then we'll go toward the questions so we can talk about it and we can talk about your journey, because really the book is secondary to the journey with this show. Amazing Authors is all about how you have experienced the world now that you've clearly had an exceptional career, and you still have an exceptional career as a doctor of Oriental medicine and quantum energy medicine, but now stepping into a whole nother path, and it is very exciting and very, kind of awe-inspiring for many wanting to do the same. So let me tell everybody a little bit about your book. Let me read the summary and then we'll go from there. A royal family is torn apart when an archer shoots an arrow at the very young Princess Isabella. King Maurice becomes lost in the forest in his quest to find the mysterious archer, entering Enchanted Wood, where he becomes bewitched by a mysterious old lady and her granddaughter. Queen Lilac, convinced that the arrow is cursed, becomes obsessed with reversing the spell, seeking help from seers and doers of the supernatural and keeping Isabella confined to protect her. The embittered queen will try anything to save the princess and bring back the missing queen. And that is
king.
Oh my goodness, what did I say? The missing king. So there you go. That is The Spell. Thank you, Cece. Tell us a little bit more about this. Why did you decide to write this book?
I didn't decide to write the book. It's like the book wrote itself. I decided to write a poem because I was bored, you know, which I often do. As you can see on my Instagram, I've got like almost on the daily, just, you know, random short poems because it's just stuff that comes to me. But it sort of started off the same way. It was just, you know, writing because I was bored. And then it was like, oh, wait, hold on, there's more coming. There's more coming. It's like, okay, this is now could be a short story. And then it's like, okay, no, now this is too long to be a short story. And 239 pages later, handwritten, well, 239 book pages, lots and lots of handwritten pages. It's just, it ended up being a book, which I was very happy about.
Of the question behind the why. I mean, you're a lover of books. I know that from
Yeah.
so long. You definitely are a reader. Is this something that you always dreamed about doing since you were a young girl?
Yes. My dream has been to be, if I could just write for a living, morning to night, and over and through the night, I would be happy. I wouldn't sleep. I wouldn't need to sleep or eat. I love to write, and I've been writing poetry since I was a little girl. You know, and the thing is that I'm always in my head. I mean, anything that I look at that's just even a little bit odd is like, that's a great story. And I've reached the ending. I already know what the ending is. And it's like, oh my God, I wish I had the time to put this down on paper. But I've always thought that way since I was a little girl. My dream has always been to write a book or several books. And I started my very first book on maternity in the year 2000. I was on maternity leave with Jimmy. And I started my first book there, which it's one of the ones that is in the making still, right? When unfinished manuscript. But that was in 2000. And this one, it was like, you know what? I'm just going to finish it. Why not? Let's just see where it goes. And I finished it, and I was so happy, and I was so excited. I mean, it was exhilarating, right? To like, for it to all come together. And then someone said to me, well, why don't you get it published? And I thought, what? Get it what? Like, it never even crossed my mind that that would be something I would be entertaining. They're like, yeah, you wrote a book, get it published. And I'm like, God, is that even possible? Like, I never imagined. I wrote it for myself. I wrote it for the joy. I really wrote it for myself. And so I started looking into it and started, okay, I need an editor. So I found an editor. And then that editor is like, okay, now you need a different editor because now it's got to go to the next stage of editing. You know, there's the 4 stages or more of editing. And then, yeah. And then, so one of my patients that she works for a publishing company referred me to somebody that she knew. And she's the owner of Deletrea Publishing, Cassandra. And so I worked with her on the next stages of the editing, and then she went ahead and published the book. So
you know, all the steps that get to where you are, and that right now you have this beautiful book, you have this book, the story has been out in the world. What kind of feedback have you gotten from it at this point? Like, what have you seen has been the most exciting part of the whole process? I mean, getting entrenched in like the whole, you know, getting stuck in the, you know, drudge of the whole, you know, putting it out there. When you're finally out, tell me about that.
Okay, well, I mean, well, you were present. Oh, and actually I want to show you because we've got a new cover, just because it's got the new blurb up here. So this is like the latest cover. I mean, the beauty of it is still there, but it's just got a blurb from author Courtney Morgan. Anyway, so I just wanted to show that. But no, you can show that one's fine. But one of the, I think the most amazing things was, and you were present at the LA Times Festival of Books, right? Awesome. Like the book selling out, right? And you know, I saw a few people, like a few young girls, like run over and like, I want one. I'm like, oh my God, they must be mistaken. They're after the wrong book. They got me confused. And they're like, no, the spell. And I thought, oh my God, like people want my book. Like they want, and it sold out. I had to sell the display. And I had to then at the end start giving like the free online copies because I ran out of books. And I sold, and that to me was like, oh my God, they actually, that was just the most exciting thing ever. Aside from creating and producing the trailer and the book design, the cover, that to me was also like a lot of fun. I had so much fun doing that. And I think one of the real, because there's a real important message at the end of the book here. So don't go to the end to read the message. I know a few people who do that, including my brother Sergio. But at the book signing, I took one of my books and I had pens for everybody so that they can keep their like beautiful royal pens. Plus, we don't want everybody with COVID, touching everybody the same pen. So I had one book and I had everybody sign it like a yearbook. So when they came up for me to sign their book, I had them sign mine. So my book is full of all their signatures and their little comments and stuff. And I had one girl who she flipped all the pages and she went all the way to the back and she underlined that message. Wow. She underlined it and she was like, this is it. This is the most important thing here, like this made a difference, and that's really exciting because I feel like I write with a purpose. There's a message in with what and I think it's sort of like a fable, like let's make it nice and cute and entertaining, but there's something more to it. So yeah, when I saw her underline that at the end, like she went straight to it. She knew where it was. That was like, oh, she got it. She got it. I mean, and many other people got it too, but it was really significant for her.
Well, so. I think a lot of people put their book out in there and they just want to say that I'm going to control the trajectory and I'm going to, the narrative. But when you put it out there, it's there for everyone else to get their hands on and take whatever messages
exactly
from the piece. So that's also very exciting. I can imagine that, your intentions perhaps are online or resonate with certain, but that whole other world comes out of, has that happened to you that someone comes back to you and says, oh my God, I love these characters the best, or this, and you're like, why? Why? No, the other ones are the ones I like, love, but I'm sure all your characters.
Yeah, everybody resonates differently and everyone finds themselves, within a character or identifies someone that they have a connection, special connection with, we all find each other in all of our books and on all of our characters. So yeah, absolutely. There was actually one industry reviewer and it was a man, okay, that mentioned one of the characters and how endearing this John Doerr, which is one of the characters, John Doerr was, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like a male reviewer, and he really found this John Doerr endearing, which he is. I mean, he's so endearing in the book, and a lot of people are like, I love John Doerr. I love John Doerr, but I just thought it was interesting that this like literary reviewer man, because sometimes I think a lot of men, I don't know if they're gonna like, it's probably not their type of book. But it looked like he quite enjoyed it, and he really liked John Doerr. He really loved that character. Awesome. So I found that was interesting. That was cute.
So I want to say that fantasy is a great genre for you. Yeah, are you anything? I know that you said poetry also is something that you work with. Is there any other genre that you're going to want to tackle and bring to the fore, any stories in that light as well?
I think so. The problem with me, it's not a problem. What interests me so much, the reason that I write fiction, right? And I know, I say the problem because everybody is always saying, well, why don't you write about what you do? Why don't you, it's so interesting what you do for a living. And like, it's your book about that. And it's like, no, because I do it all day long. And so I don't want to write about it. That's why I say this is the problem. But my interest here is that I want to make up shit, and I'm sorry, I like it because I think it's fun. I like to create a world that can never ever be destroyed because it's been created. It's like it's out in the universe. For example, this book takes place in Florham, England. I created that Florham, right? But for many people, just like when we watch a movie, we go home, we're still thinking about it, right? And it's not real. It's like for many people, Florham really exists, and so do these characters. And I just
does really Westeros and the Game of Thrones exist? That was in somebody's mind.
Exactly.
And the great ability of a storyteller to actually bring to light a whole place that never was a part of the vernacular before is quite a skill and a talent, and that's certainly what you've done with the spell. Let me ask you, what are the 3 biggest takeaways that you have as a published author now with regard to your whole path after publishing the book? What have you learned, and what may want to share with those would-be authors out there?
Yeah, I say just, well, first of all, just do it. You know, like if you're stuck in, should I do it or should I not? This is crap. Because we always at one point, and we all, you know, go through like imposter syndrome. At least, yeah, I still am going through it, even if it's been published. I'm like, hey, you know, but just do it. First of all, just finish it. Just put it out there. Because, you know, if you're inspired to write something, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, there's a reason why you received that inspiration, right? There's a purpose to that inspiration. We don't always have to know what the purpose is. We just have to trust that that inspiration came through for a reason. So I feel like it's my duty, your duty, the duty of anybody who's been inspired to write something, to write it. You know, there's a reason why it's coming through you. And it's your duty to get it out there. And it doesn't matter what you think of it. It doesn't matter if you know the purpose of it or if you even like what you're writing. If you're inspired to write it, because there's a reason for that. There's a purpose to that. Two other takeaways is just don't rush, because you have to be patient. You have to be the publishing. I mean, I've learned a lot about the publishing industry, you know, through this and afterwards. You can't rush. You want to get things right. You don't want to just rush and get it out there. If it needs more editing, give it more editing. If it needs another 6 months of changing a draft, you know, don't just put it out there, because this is, you don't want to Mickey Mouse something like this. This is like part of your soul's energy. You know what I'm saying? So like really take your time with this. And thirdly, be proud. Like, be proud. Go out there and show it off and promote it and be proud of it. Don't read reviews because some of them, more than half, are probably going to be really good, but some of them are not. It doesn't, you know, you can't be everybody's cup of tea. So it's better if you just don't read any, because especially as a first-time author, I mean, they're very disenchanting, you know, they could be. And I mean, J.K. Rowling receives horrible reviews, right? I saw a meme of her like cleaning her tears with bills, you know, like $100 bills, like who cares, right?
She said that before she even published her first book, she had papered her wall with all the rejections from the publishing companies or even agents. So there's something said about, you know, obviously, you know, putting the best product out there, but not giving up on your book baby, let's say, you know. So yes, cleaning her tears with bills. Literally, you know, everyone is reading or have read her books. And what, you know, one of the things I wanted to ask you with regard to, like, you know, you did your Books and Books production and you went to LA with us. So all shout out to all of our LA Book Festival indie authors, our amazing group that we had out. You also have coming up book festivals as well, where you'll show up and people can actually ask you questions in person as to your process.
Yes.
Want to share?
Yes. So the Sweet Haven Fall Book Fest is going to be in a couple of weeks, October 14th, almost a couple of weeks, less than a couple of weeks, October 14th, which is new moon with solar eclipse, super special day. So this book fest is in Colley Square, which is like this enchanting road, street. I don't even know what you'd call it. This tiny little neighborhood full of like, it's got all these little like healing shops, but then there's this beautiful bookstore called Sweet Haven. And it's like you've entered another era. It's like, it's the books, it's like a little old house, right? Like an antique house. It's like a fake little antique. It looks like you're entering a story, like a fictitious story, and it's beautiful. So they do this book fest in October, usually every year, and they're going to have about 15 indie authors, and we're going to be out there presenting our books, signing books, answering questions, just having a lot of fun, and a lot of people come out. And you know, aside from the book fest, there's a lot of, you know, there's a tea room, which is really, really cool to visit and have lunch there, or high tea as well, and all these other little meditative areas. So it's just even a cool place to come to visit. So everybody come down October 14th, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sweet Haven Bookstore Fall Book Fest in Colley Square. And then we have the Beyond Words Life to Paper uh, Book Fest. Right? I'm still trying to transition the Beyond Words. So that's going to be November 10th through the 12th. And Life to Paper, the website, Meg, is, because I don't know if they changed it to Beyond to Words.
Paper bookfestival.com. Let me see.
Yeah.
Hang on. This is the beauty of having a computer in front of you.
I know they're transitioning from Life to Paper to Beyond Words. So, I'm not sure if the website has transitioned yet. But anyway, that's going to be so much fun. And you get a festival pass. So Friday night is like, we're going to get to know each other. We're going to tell our stories. It's almost going to be like a game type of storytelling thing, event. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to have drinks. It was a lot of fun last year. And we get to meet all the authors and all the guests that come through. And then Saturday, there's going to be panels, people talking about, or authors, well, not only authors. There's one,
there's industry experts as well. Industry
experts, yeah. There's going to be, I think, an agent talking about how to query, right? There's going to be one lady that she was there last year, that she's talking about how to write with the moon, like in the cycles of the moon. Yeah, and there's going to be Meg Nocero, who's going to be talking about like memoirs, right? Because there's just going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of really cool authors. The dinner that night is going to be 80s themed, which is going to be really, really super cool. There's just going to be a lot of industry experts on panels, and you get to, mingle with them. The dinner last year was amazing. There's going to be amazing again. And then Sunday, they have the Purple Quill Awards, and there's more panels, and it's just going to be so much fun.
So,
and that,
I think one of the best things about book festivals is the fact that you get to talk to the authors that created the book. And I always have been like a big seeker of those. I don't want to say stalker of those, but seeker of those inspired me. And certainly your gifts out there and that magical spell, like I want to say again with your book, certainly will inspire many to, first of all, pick up and read, because you do better by reading in this world. You input all good stuff, get off your computer for a bit, not right now because we're on IG Live, but yes, you do get to do that. But also, ask the author about why did you do certain things with your characters. And so back to you, I know that you've told us about your favorite moments, but I love the idea of what is your next step? What are you going to do next with this beautiful author career that you are building?
Well, you know what I want? I want to be a paid author. So first, I'm going to dream big. Secondly, I think I want to complete some unfinished manuscripts. I've got, whole book manuscripts, and I've got lots of short stories. I've got a lot of poetry, so maybe a poetry short story collection. I'm thinking that as well. But I need to finish. I feel like the characters are waiting, like they're just sort of sitting on a bench there, just twiddling their thumbs, like, hey, did you forget us? So I feel like I cannot depart from this planet without finishing any of those stories, because it's like I feel like I left something behind. Like, that's not going to be good karma. Like, I got to finish that. So I want to finish that. I want to finish all these, and complete all these unfinished manuscripts and stories.
It's funny that you say you want to be a paid author, and you already are, because you already are making money from your books. It's little by little. It's what you were saying before, is that slow process, but just taking it as it comes. You're certainly much further along now than you were in 2020 when your book came out and had no idea how it would be received by the world. So kudos to you. Congratulations to you for sure. I mean, it takes a lot of guts and bravery to actually do that. And I want to say your investment in your words has been truly a remarkable achievement. So don't downplay that, for sure. That is what makes you amazing. And that's why you're going to inspire so many people. I guess what question I have is now, in the world, like, you're out there and you're speaking and you're engaging, and King Maurice is coming to life, and Queen Lilac, all of these wonderful characters. How do you want to be known as the author? Like, when people say, oh, did you meet CV Shaw? She is
so cool. I know, I think I want to be known. I don't know if there's a descriptive word or an adjective to describe what I want, but I think I just want for people to enjoy my story. However it resonates to them, I just want them to enjoy the story. I do. I want them to feel it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want them to receive the message, but just enjoy it. However, even if you don't understand the message, even if it's just for the story that you read it, or, you know, just like, I just really want them to sort of, to just enjoy it. I want them to take it in. I want them to feel something, you know?
I love, like, it does. It makes you feel when you read a book. That is a successful book.
Exactly.
So I went back to like some of the quantum around your books and the whole, you said new moon, and on the of October, there's great alignment in the energy. Can you tell people who are listening what that means? If perhaps they've never heard anyone say that before. I love it. It's magical. It's right up my alley. I enjoy that. How about explain a little bit about what you're talking about?
About the new moon or about quantum healing?
About everything that you want to talk about. But I mean, like, for instance, that October 14th day, why is that such a special
Okay,
day?
well, first of all, it's special because there's going to be a solar eclipse, which, you know, it's solar eclipse season is starting now. And, you know, those are rarities. That doesn't always happen. It's, you know, the sun is going to be, you know, covered for a bit. We won't be able to see it from here. I think it's going to be more the West Coast that may be able to observe it. But either way, when these cosmic happenings happen, there's always some type of a shift, and it's happening together with the new moon. So the new moon is all about new cycles and new beginnings, right? Which it's just whenever there's something cosmic, the new moon in itself is already an event.
Yeah.
With a solar eclipse, the energy is intensified and there's just shifting that's going to happen, right? So, and you will feel the energy. Well, definitely, if you're attuned, you will definitely feel the energy, just like with the full moon, right? What happens with the full moon?
So an author use that energy for the best outcome possible?
Well, I learned from what I know, and from this person that's going to be speaking in the festival in November. With the full moon, when I do my sessions, I use the full moon to release and to clear, right? Because that's what the full moon is doing. It's getting full of all the stuff so that it can take it away, right? We give the rituals is that we take away anything that's negative, take away anything that's heavy, anything that doesn't serve me. Fill yourself up with it, take it away. But how do we feel? Excuse me, like, why do they call people lunatics, right? From the Luna, right? Because it affects us. That's why I was saying we will feel it. With the new moon, it's new cycles. So, for example, if you're going to start a new chapter, start it on the new moon.
Okay.
If you're going to be editing and clearing and releasing and seeing what doesn't fit anymore, do it in a full moon, right? Because it's clearing, it's taking away. And if you want to start a new chapter, start a new book, a new point, anything, there's just so much more energy with the new moons and the full moons. That doesn't mean you should only do this. You should only write every 2 weeks. But those are the strongest days, you know?
Get it done.
Right, exactly. So those are the strongest days for that. So you could apply that to writing, to editing, or anything else in your life, actually.
So Tabitha's on, and she's definitely saying that she feels the energy and didn't realize it was coming from, and then it wasn't only me. Well, yeah, it's interesting. You're like, why is everyone acting like lunatics? You're like, oh, I don't blame it on Mercury in retrograde, never that. But, you know, the bottom line is, as authors, you know, once you're aware of what's happening around you, you're able to navigate differently. And I think that with regard to your storytelling, you know, it's interesting. Do you ever use those concepts? I know you say you don't write what you do, but do you use those concepts in the works that you do? In, like, say,
I do, because in the spell, there's a lot of herbal, because I'm also an herbalist, right? So in the spell, there's a lot of herbal. There's a lot of talk and a lot of things that happen with herbs, right? For good and for bad. But so there's a lot of talk of the herbs. And also there's a little bit of healing in there as well. Healing, like subtle energy healing, So yeah, they're definitely in there. I mean, I couldn't help that.
You know, it is October. It is witches season.
Yeah.
So I say that we bring the energy of love and light into this circle, certainly. And I personally like the idea that we're surrounded by nature, and when we tap into the source, certainly by benefiting, and you're saying herbal, the earth as well, right? Things that from nature, from the earth, that it would certainly up level our ability to tell a story with the highest aspirations, certainly. So before we go, I want to know really how magical has been this whole process for you at this point?
It's been magical. You know that there's nothing, okay, I shouldn't say that. I love my kids. So there are my kids. But aside from my kids, there's nothing that brings me so much joy and makes me feel that, oh my God, anything is actually possible, than anything that has to do with writing. When I talk about my book, or when I'm gonna do like a book fair, or anything that has to do with my book or writing or new writing or anything like that, the excitement is literally magical, because it just transforms. It transforms my whole frequency. I could be down here and all of a sudden you're talking about that and I'm just like a whole different person. It's like, you know, everything changes for me. That's how magical, not just the process, but anything that has to do with writing and books is. I really feel like I've received a lot of healing for my inner child as well, because this is something that it's been, you know, with me since I can remember, at least, you know. And I was very little, just, you know, that dream of writing the book, and one day I'm going to write a book. And,
Well, your
you know,
have been realized. You first have the spell, and we have others to come as well.
yeah.
I really want to end tonight on a very, really uplifting and incredibly inspirational note, because I absolutely enjoy creating around and collaborating around with you. You are a force of light in nature, and you always bring the most incredible intentions to everything you do. And just being in your presence certainly is a wonderful inspirational experience. Outside of encouraging everybody to go meet you if you have the opportunity in South Florida, that's really something that you should do. My question for you is, if you had one dream that you wish could come true outside of being a paid author, because we're just going to put that out there, authors should be paid, they should be valued, and their work shall be elevated, just like anybody else who wants to have their work valued. So that's outside of, what
I
dream
could
do
tell
you want?
you, absolutely. My book and my books being on the big screen.
There you go. Well, you have one step closer to that, because you have a son who's very talented in that area. So
Yeah.
certainly not, who knows what is going to come from that, but definitely, yes, that sounds like a great thing. Fantasy, I love a good fantasy book. I think the spell would certainly be a wonderful, wonderful unfolding. You like to wear a tiara or a crown. We know that.
Of
Awesome.
course.
And I love the wand story with you, because honestly, the wand, like, I will not give a teaser to everyone, but when she waves her wand, dreams come true. So with that, I want to open it up to leave any kind of inspirational thoughts for anyone who's listening tonight to us.
Okay. So anyone who's listening to us, whether you're an author or a writer or not, or whatever it is that you do, just know that as real as you think that this world is, that amount of realness that you think this is, it carries the same amount of unrealness. So you've got nothing to lose. Like, you know, we're floating on a rock in the middle of space. For crying out loud, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Do what makes you feel good, because when you do, everything else that you need comes effortlessly.
Love that. It's so true.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's a wonderful way
Yeah.
of ending tonight. I want to remind everybody to come see Ceci at Sweet Haven Book Festival, Fall Festival. We will be there, magical everything. So come see us at Colley Square. There are peacocks there. So you might get lucky and see a white peacock there. That's magical in and of itself. But yet we do have wonderful things to share with everybody. So definitely join us. And also Beyond Words Book Festival. Definitely join us because it's going to be an incredible weekend of engagement, and you get to meet Tabitha Rose, for one, who is the founder of that, and lots of fun, lots of engagement in the author book community, which I know a lot of people are looking for. So definitely come see us there. We're going to have our magical table there as well. So we can't wait to meet you. So before we go, everybody, books change lives. Great writing stirs our emotion, makes us feel, and those authors who are vulnerable to the extent that they are changing the world, keep making a difference with their words and all of the above. We thank them, because who are we without our stories? We are storytellers at our core, and that is how we communicate, and that is the beauty of being human. So thank you so much, Ceci, for joining us tonight and sharing with the world your beautiful book, The Spell. And you're just amazing, and you are so cool, let me tell you.
And so are you, and you are amazing, and thank you for having me on.
You're wonderful.
So looking forward to our festivals. We're gonna have so much fun again.
It's gonna be amazing. And good night, everybody. We love you all.
Good night.
Have a good one.